Big patch, big changes, big news, big changes, huge, gigantic, enormous, crazy changes. For real though, even if this isn't the really big patch we've been waiting on with all the new characters, this balance patch has changed Deadlock by a lot and changes how you should be playing the game. The biggest change is the Rejuvenator rework. Now when you kill mid-boss, instead of 1 Rejuvenator dropping down, there's 3, with that increasing to 4 after the first mid-boss is killed. Whoever melees the crystals gets plus 20% max HP, plus 20% fire rate, and 15% spirit damage for 7 minutes. If you die while you have this buff, you don't give the enemies any souls, and you respawn in the same place after 3 seconds. Kinda like Soul Rebirth. But once you respawn, you lose the buff and the stat bonuses. So your minions don't get buffed at all by Rejuve anymore. This change is really interesting to me, and I'm curious if they'll end up keeping it. I think the effect is probably more reasonable than buffing minions all across the map, but it is kind of a shame that Rejuve steals aren't really a thing anymore with the extra crystals. The amount of dopamine you get when you pull one off was top notch. Also, the fact that only some people on your team get the buff is a little bit weird. Basically, they should always go to whoever has the most souls on your team, because they'll put the extra stats to the best use. But that doesn't stop the demons whispering from me while I resist the urge to melee them so my teammates can have them. I want them! The buff also heals you to full when you get it, so if you have teammates that are low after mid-boss and you want to push after, you can let them have it so that they don't have to base first. If you do end up getting one of the buffs, you should try to hold on to it for as long as you can. 7 minutes is a long time, and while you have it, you're a much bigger threat in fights, as well as being way more efficient at farming and pushing around the map. Do not go in and try to 1v6 with it just because your stats are higher. I'm looking at you, Yamato. You come back with full health after you die with Rejuve, but if you're in the middle of a bunch of enemies, you'll just die a second time. Now, a big reason that I think they've done the Rejuve rework is because there's been a huge shift this patch to waves and pushing being even more important to manage. They've increased trooper move speed so you can push with them faster. They've decreased trooper spawn time past 20 minutes, so you have to deal with waves more often. And they've removed the teleporters by the walkers, so one person can't just clear both side waves anymore. All of this together means you'll be pulled away from being able to group and deathball more often in order to go and fix your lanes. With all these trooper changes, can you imagine if they had left Rejuve the same? It would be incredibly strong. A lot of other changes in the patch also discourage running around in a big group. They've lowered how many souls a group gets from candle troopers again. I feel like they just really want this to hit home, and I've talked about it a couple times. But with these new numbers, if you're more than 2 people getting souls from a wave, you're lowering its value by 46% with 3 people and by 70% with 4 people. If you've gone to gank a lane and make a play there, and there's already 2 people there, make your play and get out. The more waves you stick around for, the worse it gets for your team. They've also started making soul splits from kills start working like candle troopers, where the more people you have participate in a kill past 2 people, the less valuable the kill gets, which is interesting. It's definitely made me evaluate fights a lot more and decide if I'm actually needed there. If in the mid-game you see 2 of your teammates in a fight that's not over an objective, it's fairly likely that you'll be more useful somewhere else on the map than if you rotated over to help. With the changes to kills and troopers, it's more important than ever that when you think about grouping past 2 people anywhere on the map, you're absolutely certain whatever you're doing there is worth it. I do really like that the changes are pushing grouping in smaller numbers more. When the best thing to do for most of the game is just to group and run around in a deathball, I don't think it's very interesting. Having to weigh the trade-offs between going to help in a fight and going to do other things is one of the things that makes MOBAs compelling to me. This patch has also made split pushing better by removing spirit resistance from objectives, so it's more of an option for spirit heavy characters. Though they have specifically nerfed Warden, Seven, McGinnis, and Bebop ult to do 50% damage to objectives so that they can't solo shred them. I like this change a lot. I always thought it was weird that split pushing was so much better on gun characters. Having said that, they probably need to nerf Magician's Bolt somehow because good God do they do a lot of damage to walkers. Valve has also decided to do something interesting with jungle camps this patch by raising the values of small and medium denizens by 15%, as well as raising the value of large denizens by 25%. In addition to this, they've raised the respawn time of medium camps by 17% and the respawn time of big camps by 25%. Both of these changes mean that taking the enemy's jungle is considerably better than it was before, because you're taking more souls away from them and leaving them without that resource for longer. This also increases the importance of securing your own camps. This is another change I really like, jungle being an objective that you have to fight over versus just a constant flow of things that you need to clear. Seems like better game design to me. I am going to do a deep dive on the new value of camps compared to things like waves, crates, and sinner sacrifice throughout the game, because it's been adjusted a lot since the last time I've looked into it. So if you don't want to miss a video on that, make sure to subscribe. Thanks. Melees have gotten hit with a nerf all across the board this patch. Heavy melees have a bit longer cooldown. Light melees do less damage. The stun from a parry can't be reduced. And now when you're stunned from a parry, instead of taking 35% extra damage from melees, you take 30% extra damage from everything. So melees are a little bit worse and you get punished way harder for messing them up. The parry changes I like a lot. You can now always get 2 heavy melees off when you parry somebody, although the timing is a little bit tight with the higher melee cooldowns. The melee changes that I don't like though are now when you melee someone while they're mantling, they no longer fall and instead just get hit with a big slow, and this includes when you melee somebody who's on a rope. This one makes me sad because it didn't come into play that often, but it was really satisfying when you could use it to stop somebody from chasing you or from running away. The mechanic was fun, and I don't really understand why they'd remove it. Maybe it was too jarring for newer players. As a Viscous main, I'm particularly sad because you can't puddle punch people off ropes anymore, which sucks because it felt really good when you lined it up. With the nerf to heavy melees making them slower, they've added an extra golden statue buff to Sinner Sacrifice when you get the heavy melee timing right. This means that it's even better to take your time lining up for that punch. The last big change Valve did this patch was change every character's dash speeds. Some characters now have quicker dashes by 5%, some characters now have slower dashes by 5%, and these bigger characters now have dashes that are 15% slower. I don't totally mind it, don't get me wrong, it's a little bit weird, but having another metric where you can adjust characters' speeds that's not just stamina or move speed is probably a good thing. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the patch in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later.